Running?
You got it.
Okay, perfect. Okay, well, so again, hello everyone. Welcome back to the Green Chemistry Education Webinar Series. Again, it is hosted by the Green Chemistry Commitment. My name is Derek Ward, and I am the Program Manager for Higher Education here at Beyond Benign, and we are a nonprofit organization dedicated to green chemistry education in the K-12 all the way through the higher education space. This webinar series is designed to highlight relevant topics in green chemistry education for faculty and students who are looking to adopt green chemistry in their courses and programs. Just to let you guys know, we are broadcasting live and recording this session. Therefore, all the attendees today are in listen-only mode and all lines are muted. So if you have any questions, please type a question into the question/chat box, which you can find in your control panel for the moderators to view, and then we will actually respond to all the questions that come in after the presentation has ended. The recording will also be posted on the link you see at the bottom of the PowerPoint there, and also with the supplemental PowerPoint slides and documents as well. And for all those of you who participate in social media, please connect with us on Twitter or Facebook. We would love to hear some live tweeting going on during our webinars, so join us if you would like. And again, thank you for joining us for this webinar and for taking part in the discussion. So again, this webinar is being brought to you as a part of the Green Chemistry Commitment Program, which is a consortium program aimed to transforming chemistry education by expanding the community of green chemistry practitioners, growing departmental resources for those looking to adopt green chemistry, improve connections to the industry, and affecting systemic change in chemistry education as a whole. This program is voluntary, it's flexible in order to adopt green chemistry student learning objectives and to promote the work that you are currently doing at your institution that can serve as models for other institutions to get involved with green chemistry. If you want to find out some more information about the Green Chemistry Commitment, you can email me directly at derek_ward@beyondbenign.org. As part of our webinar series, we always give away a green chemistry book at the conclusion of the webinar. We will announce the randomly selected winner from the list of the attendees today at the end of the webinar, and we will send the book directly to you. And again, at the end of the webinar, you will receive an email from us directly requesting your contact information. And so right now, I'd just like to take the time to now introduce our speakers that will be with us today. So for today's webinar, we are happy to have representatives from the ACS Green Chemistry Institute, the University of New England, and Tennessee Tech, and they will be discussing about what it takes to be recognized and awarded a green chemistry student chapter, followed by real-world examples of their successes in advancing green chemistry through their outreach activities. I will now introduce them briefly and then hand over the controls to our representatives and get the presentation started. Our representative, representing the ACS Green Chemistry Institute, we have Jennifer MacKellar. She currently serves as the program manager at the ACS Green Chemistry Institute in Washington, D.C. In her current role, Jennifer has focused on providing high-quality education resources and mainstreaming green chemistry education in the United States. Jennifer holds a Master of Science degree in Molecular and Integrated Physiology from the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor and is in the process of completing a certificate in public health. Jennifer has professional experience in multiple U.S. government agencies, including the National Science Foundation and the National Institutes of Health. Jennifer has focused extensively on U.S. science policy, federal grant management, and program management. Representing UNE, we have Dr. Amy Keirstead. Amy Keirstead is an Associate Professor of Chemistry and Associate Dean at the University of New England and serves as the Chemistry Club Faculty Advisor for 6 years. Dr. Keirstead has been practicing green chemistry for over 15 years and is passionate about bringing green chemistry to the AC Student Chapters program. Joining her actually is a student of hers named Jessica White. She's a senior at the University of New England, where she is completing a double major in biochemistry and applied mathematics. Jessica has served as the University of New England's chemistry club vice president and now president, and has been a Beyond Benign Green Chemistry Outreach Fellow since 2017. Representing Tennessee Tech, we have Dr. Amanda Carroll. She's a lecturer in the chemistry department at Tennessee Tech University in Cookeville, Tennessee. She's also the faculty advisor for the Tennessee Tech University chapter of the student members of the American Chemical Society and serves on the undergraduate program and advisory board for the ACS. Accompanying her is Jonah Ralston. Jonah Ralston is a sophomore chemistry major at Tennessee Tech, and he currently serves as the Green Chemistry Chair for the Tennessee Tech University student chapter of the ACS. And so without further ado, we will now start the webinar and pass it to Jenny.
Great, thanks, Derek. Let me make sure I am in the right mode. Okay, can you see my screen? Or do I need to switch my?
Yes, we can see the screen. You just need to switch it to the presenter mode.
Better?
You're good. Yep.
Good. Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Derek and Amy, for having me here today. I'm really excited to talk a bit about the ACS Green Chemistry student chapters. And today I'm going to focus on what we do here at the ACS Green Chemistry Institute and talk a bit about the student chapters and how to create a student chapter and what you can do to win that much coveted Green Chemistry Award for your chapter. So here at the Green Chemistry Institute, our mission is to engage you to reimagine chemistry and engineering for a more sustainable future. And we do this by focusing in 3 areas of advancing science, advocating for education, and accelerating adoption of green chemistry practices and principles across the chemistry enterprise. Today, I'm mostly going to focus on our educational initiatives, but if you have questions at any point or after the broadcast about our other work with our industrial roundtables, please do reach out to me. So on our website and throughout our outreach activities, you can hear about our work with the ACS Green Chemistry student chapters. We also provide student travel awards for students interested in attending either an ACS national meeting or a green chemistry meeting that's either taking place in the US or abroad, as well as student travel awards to participate in our annual Green Chemistry and Engineering Conference. We have lots of educational resources available online for students and educators. So if you're interested in finding out more about things you can do to bring green chemistry to your educational experience, please check out our website. And we also have workshops and trainings. Our travel awards, we just missed the deadline, which was in October of this year. So look for October 2019 deadlines for travel awards to either the ACS national meeting or an international meeting or our Green Chemistry Engineering Conference. These travel awards can give you up to $2,000 to participate in either a domestic or international meeting. We also have the ACS Summer School on Green Chemistry and Sustainable Energy. This is an annual week-long training program for graduate students in green chemistry. So if you're looking to learn more about green chemistry and looking for a more in-depth experience, please check out the application. That's for students that are in the U.S. as well as the Canada and the other Americas. So it does apply internationally as well. So the deadlines for that will be in December of 2018. So take a look at our website if you're interested in attending that training program. Finally, we have our conference every year, which is will be taking place in Reston in June of 2019. Our conference theme this year will focus on closing the loop in sustainable practices at the end of life of consumer products. We're partnering with the 9th International Conference on Green and Sustainable Chemistry, so we'll have a large international audience, and it should be a really great conference. If you're interested in submitting an abstract, the symposium's descriptions are listed on our website, and abstract submission will be open on January 19th through January 14th. This year's, the 2019 meeting will focus on, have a student workshop focused on entrepreneurship and networking. We'll also have a communicating science workshop, and that's for students as well as educators and folks from industry. We have several industry-focused or education-focused sessions, as well as a student poster competition, and there's going to be over 40 technical sessions at this year's GC&E meeting, so we hope you can join us there. All right, so focusing on the student chapters. For those of you on the webinar who haven't started a chapter yet, if you're interested in getting involved, you need to have 6 members of the ACS available to sign your charter and join to start your chapter. You need to find your faculty advisor and complete your online charter application and mail that to the ACS. Once you've composed your bylaws and mailed your application to ACS, you will become an official ACS chapter. So, how can you win the much coveted Green Chemistry Student Chapter Award? In order to be eligible for the Green Chemistry Student Chapter Award, you need to perform at least 3 green chemistry activities throughout the academic year with your chapter. You need to have at least 6 members participating in the events, and we've been working harder to make it easier for students to figure out what kinds of events count as green chemistry events. So we'll be hosting 3 events this year that you can join and those would count as your 3 activities. We did one during National Chemistry Week during October, so there was a Mars event that we hosted with the program in a box. You can still watch that recorded broadcast and perform the green chemistry activity associated with that webinar broadcast, and write about it in your student chapter. We'll have another activity coming up in February with the next ACS program in a box that will be in February of 2019. And finally, we'll have an activity during Chemists Celebrate Earth Day in April. So take a look at our website and keep an eye on our social media feed for more details about that. There's also lots of opportunities to come up with your own creative green chemistry events. So I'm excited to hear about what UNE and Tennessee Tech has been doing to engage their green chemistry student chapters. I know they have some great ideas for you guys. So this was some information about the program in a box activity that just happened in October. The webinar was recorded, and the activity will be available on our website shortly. So if you're still looking for an activity to do this fall with your student chapter, you can definitely take advantage of that still. On our website, the ACS GCI website, there's a lot of how-to guides that are available for students to get an idea of what types of activities you could be doing with your student chapter. There's webinars and activities that are posted, not only that we hosted last year, but also that are great ideas from other green chemistry student chapters that you can find on our website. So if you're looking for ideas or what other student chapters have done to be successful, please check out our website. And there, we love to post what other students have done. So if you have great ideas that you've done with your chapter and you'd like to share them, please send them our way, and we'd be happy to post them with pictures of your activities. We also do quite a few educational webinars that you can create activities with your student chapter to do more of these. So there's several that have been hosted over the last year on things like sustainable product design and how to create safer and more sustainable labs through green chemistry. So if you're interested in webinars, definitely check back, and those are great activities to do with your student chapter as well. One of the last things I want to talk about is the difference between green chemistry, environmental chemistry, and sustainability. This is one of the areas where we see the biggest confusion and some of the hurdles that student chapters are running into when they're trying to find out what kind of chapter activities they can do that would qualify as green chemistry activities. We often get activities that are focused on things like recycling drives and water monitoring, and those often don't count as green chemistry activities unless there's a specific green chemistry aspect that's included in the activity. And that's really where we wanted to break down the difference between sustainability and environmental chemistry and green chemistry. There's a lot of topics in sustainability, such as quality of life, equity and fairness, and participation and partnerships that often don't have a green chemistry aspect they touch broader issues of gender equality and equal access to resources, and those don't necessarily have a green chemistry component. Similarly, with environmental chemistry, there's a lot of aspects that are very important for people to understand about the environment and sustainability issues such as air quality, soil quality, and water quality that don't necessarily relate directly to green chemistry. Green chemistry is really focused on life cycle thinking, resource efficiency, and minimizing hazards that we're exposed to every day. So when we think about the 12 principles of green chemistry, we want to make sure that we're bringing those aspects into the activities. If you have more questions about that, please feel free to reach out to me or Derek or Amy. We'd be happy to help you through distinguishing between these different areas and how to make sure your green chemistry activities are actually green chemistry activities and not sustainability or environmental chemistry activities. And so with that, I just wanted to list the types of activities that are not considered green chemistry activities. So I mentioned some of these already, but things like park or road cleanups, Earth Day celebrations that don't have a green chemistry component, doing things that you've done year after year, or similarly bringing in university professors to from your same institution to talk about things that you're already talking about in your classes. And finally, if you're interested in connecting with us, you can find us on Twitter and Facebook. We also have a monthly newsletter or bi-monthly newsletter that focuses on green chemistry happening. So it's a great way to keep in touch with what's happening in the community. And if you're interested in sharing green chemistry activities that you've done with your chapter, we're happy to highlight you there. And if you have questions, thoughts, or ideas along the way, please contact me. I'm happy to help anytime throughout your process. And I think that's it for me, Derek.
Yes. Yep. Thank you, Jenny. And then now we will pass over the controls to Amy Keirstead from the University of New England.
All right. Thank you, Derek. Let's see if we can get this up and running. Just testing the theory that academics don't have any practical skills. Are we up?
You are up. Try switching your displays or put it into a slideshow mode.
Good.
There you go. Perfect.
Perfect. Yep. Thank you. Okay, so I'm Amy Keirstead, and I'm here with Jessica White. And we're delighted to tell you about our green chemistry activities within our ACS student chapter at the University of New England. First, just to give you some context, I'm going to tell you a little bit about our university. Possibly. Why can't I? There we go. So we are a medium-sized institution. We have about 4,000 on-campus students, and that includes about 2,200 undergraduates. And in addition to our undergraduate programs, we also have a number of graduate programs in the health sciences. And we have 3 campuses. We are located, 2 of them are located in southern Maine, and we have our own study abroad campus with an organic chemistry lab in Tangier, Morocco. And so we're in Biddeford, and that's where the Saco River meets the Atlantic Ocean. It's a really beautiful place to live and work, and our university is really committed to sustainability initiatives. So much so that our tagline is innovation for a healthier planet. So in this webinar, Jessica and I are going to tell you how we innovated and revitalized our ACS student chapter by incorporating green chemistry and in turn contributing to this healthier planet. So first, I want to tell you a bit about our student chapter, because there may be similar student chapters out there who are like ours or who are just getting started. So we reactivated as a student chapter in 2013, so we're still pretty young. And over the years, we've grown our club. Our membership is pretty diverse. We're not all chemistry majors. We've got students who are in health, wellness, and occupational studies, and mathematics, and biology. And in fact, one of our faculty advisors is a physicist. But the grounding component is that we're all dedicated to the mission of our chapter, which includes outreach, professional development, and of course, camaraderie. In 2017, we adopted the new logo that's shown here on the screen. And this design represents our commitment to diversity through our rainbow test tubes and also our commitment to green chemistry, which is represented by the green hexagon and, of course, the leaf. And through the ACS Student Chapters program, we have won awards each year that we've been active. But we really advanced our chapter and award level starting in 2015, which is also the year that we started focusing on green chemistry initiatives. So something special clearly happened in 2015. And that thing was that I attended the ACS National Meeting in Boston. And of course, everybody knows that when you go to an ACS National Meeting, you go to the expo, right? But the expo isn't just about the free swag and getting some snacks and, you know, going home with 6,000 pens. It's also a way to learn about and network with different vendors and resources. And it so happened that Beyond Benign had a table on that day in the expo. And I knew about Beyond Benign, but I didn't know if or how they worked with universities. So I went over and I introduced myself and asked if they worked with chemistry clubs. And in no time flat, we'd been invited to attend their Green Chemistry Outreach Fellows training that fall.
So their outreach trainings take place at the Warner Babcock Institute for Green Chemistry in Wilmington, Massachusetts. And usually there'll be student groups from 4 or 5 different higher ed institutions that are present for the training. Our group in particular has done this 3 separate times in 2015, 2017, and just this past month. So basically the training consists of a full day of practice. In the morning, we're learning about green chemistry with interactive activities, and we get hands-on experience learning about the demos that Beyond Benign offers. In addition to all of the handouts and activities that are available online, we're also sent home with materials that we can use and bring into the community for our own outreach activities. After the lunch, we'll have a group of elementary and middle school students that will come over, and this is our chance to start practicing these demos on a live audience. In this picture, we're working on the ocean plastics demo, which involves a hands-on activity identifying the origins of different microplastics, and then helping the students in making an edible no-waste juice pod to help show some alternatives and other options instead of always using the plastic materials that they're used to. One of our favorite activities to do from Beyond Benign is How Ecovative Are You? This activity helps demonstrate green chemistry approaches to environmentally friendly packaging. So in this activity, we talk about the life cycle of a styrofoam cup, all the way from petroleum to trash, and how it compares to a product such as Ecovative that is made from agricultural waste and mycelium and that can eventually be composted. This activity is really great and hands-on, and it can be adapted to various age groups. In particular, we've done this with visiting students in elementary school up to late middle school. And it's also really good to do in a workshop setting or at a table as a larger expo setting. And then Beyond Benign will provide you the instructions on their website, and the material can be purchased from the supplier online, making it a really accessible activity for any student group to adopt as well. Another one of the activities that we like to use a lot is Blackberry solar cells. This activity uses the dye of blackberry juice to make a dye-sensitized solar cell. We found that it works better for older audiences, middle school, or we've even done it with adults. Also, it's really good in a workshop setting because it takes a little bit longer to do and it requires some more focus. Again, you can find the instructions and the talking points online on the website, and the specialty materials can also be purchased online as well. Additionally, we've started taking on the challenge of coming up with some of our own outreach activities, sometimes inspired by the key topics that are coming up in the real world and that are being brought to us in our Beyond Benign demonstrations. So last year, myself and a couple of other students designed a outreach demonstration on bioplastics. This demonstration involved making our own homemade bioplastics, as well as a hands-on activity where kids could string beads into bracelets showing them what a monomer and a polymer is. This is an activity that we've done with visiting groups that have come to campus, and we also brought it to the Chem Demo Exchange in New Orleans this past year. So in addition to all of the outreach activities that we put a lot of focus on, we help to host speakers on our campus. In spring 2017, a local section meeting included a talk by Dr. John Warner, and so prior to his talk on campus, we did a series of the green chemistry outreach activities. And we additionally help to promote the chemistry department seminar program that occurs every fall, placing particular emphasis on a lot of the talks that we find that are related to green chemistry or to topics in toxicology. And we also make a point of going to lectures about green chemistry that are around us. For example, we take advantage of how close we are to other colleges and universities, such as Gordon College, and have attended guest lectures there as well. In 2016, Molly and Griffin in the top picture also helped out at the Beyond Benign table. And when we're at ACS national meetings, we try to attend talks and events that are related to green chemistry as well. And then, as was mentioned earlier, green chemistry is being incorporated into the program in a box. And this was one of our chapter's favorite activities to participate in before, and now it's a really good opportunity to get extra green chemistry activities in throughout the year. So this past fall, when we were doing the Mars program, we also took time at the end to have a small discussion, and they were able to provide us with some talking points to talk about how we could apply green chemistry if we were to go to Mars ourselves.
Thanks, Jess. So over the past few years, we've used green chemistry to innovate our student chapter. And we took what were originally new ideas to us and we turned them into things that we routinely do and to define who we are and what we value. And of course, always wanting to be more innovative, we worked with our faculty to help UNE adopt the green chemistry commitment. This was signed this past February, and we're proud to join over 40 other institutions, including our friends at Tennessee Tech, who have signed the commitment, and to be the first institution in northern New England to adopt the commitment. The fact that our chapter had spent the last few years bringing green chemistry to our university and community, and that we demonstrated our own commitment to this field, were instrumental in our university adopting the green chemistry commitment. Being part of this consortium will afford us new resources and ideas and allow us to continue innovating for a healthier planet. So that wraps up our little story. We have lots of people to thank for support. Of course, our own institution and our friends and colleagues at Beyond Benign. We've also been really fortunate to partner with the Maine Science Festival, which provides us a venue to do a lot of outreach with a wide array throughout the state.
So thank you for listening to us talk about some of the green chemistry activities that we've been involved in. If you have any questions about our club or some of the events that we've done in the past or that might be coming up, you can communicate with us through any of our social media accounts that you see on the screen.
Great. Thanks so much, folks.
Thank you, Amy, and thank you, Jessica. That was actually a really good presentation, not only highlighting what you have done in the past, but also kind of forecasting on what you guys will probably will be doing in the future to continue you guys' advancing green chemistry at the University of England. So yeah, now we would like to hand over the controls to Amanda and Jonah.
All right, thank you everybody so much for having us.
So Tennessee Tech is rather a larger school than UNE. We have about 10,000 students. About 9,000 of those are undergraduates. We have about 150 chemistry majors in any given year. We have a master's program in chemistry, and then we have an environmental science program that grants a PhD, and they have a chemistry concentration. And so that is actually one of the main focuses for our university. So one reason our chapter makes green chemistry a priority is due to the large environmental focus of our university. So we really strive to be and to create responsible chemists in our program that are conscious of the impact that they have on the environment and on the chemical industry. In order to be able to handle a large number of green chemistry activities that we started conducting a few years ago when we made a push to gain this green chapter status, we decided to form within our executive committee a green chemistry chair, which is what Jonah is, and he'll be speaking to you about in just a moment. We also try to make sure that we're incorporating green chemistry into different aspects of our activities, much like what Amy and Jessica were just talking about. So we have professional development activities and service activities. The main thing for us is it's really important to plan ahead. And we want to make sure that we have not just the minimum, but more than the required number of activities needed to achieve green chapter status. So our executive committee meets prior to the beginning of each school year, and we plan a lot of our major activities for the year. And when we do that, we have a focus on green chemistry and how we're going to bring green chemistry into those activities. And so we also try to make sure that we have a balance between activities that are happening in the fall and the spring semester. That way, at any given point, nobody's getting overwhelmed with the things that we have going on. And so we also strive to incorporate green chemistry not only in activities that we do on a yearly basis, but also in very new and exciting ways every year. To us, as Jennifer was talking about earlier, it's really important to make sure to distinguish between what is counted as a green chemistry activity and what would either be an environmental or sustainable activity. And so what we do as a chapter is try to make sure when we plan a green chemistry activity that it's going to have an alignment in a very definite way with one of the green chemistry principles. And so that has really helped our chapter stay focused on green chemistry, and it kind of relieves some of that overlap between green chemistry and the other fields that you saw earlier. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Jonah, and he'll talk to you a little bit about his position.
All right. So the green chemistry chair, what I do, in the beginning, students apply for this position during the elections each year, and the green chemistry chair is selected by the outgoing and incoming officers. The application involves why you want this particular position and what your ideas are for the upcoming year. The officers look for people that show genuine interest in this particular position and have exciting suggestions for how the chapter can grow in this area. Duties of this position include organizing and coordinating our yearly activities needed for green chapter status, as well as working with other campus and community groups for events like Hazardous Waste Drop-Off Day and Earth Day. I work with officers to see if there are ways we can incorporate green chemistry into other chapter activities that may be planning. My role is also responsible for preparing and giving the green chemistry lecture as a part of our National Chemistry Week activities and designing the display board that is in our lecture auditorium. So this is where I want to talk about the National Chemistry Week Green Chemistry Lecture. So the Green Chemistry Lecture is intended to be presented to and understood by an audience with a limited science background. We want to make sure anyone can learn about the importance of the field. Our general chemistry students and community members are the main people that attend the lecture, and we try to make sure people understand the difference between green chemistry and environmental chemistry and how they can overlap, but are separate branches. The history of green chemistry and how the field emerged is also covered. Disasters that resulted from poor chemical practices like Love Canal and Valley of the Drums are discussed to convey the importance of safe and sustainable chemistry processes. The 12 principles are covered and examples are given for each principle. The speaker every year is given freedom to cover the topic in a way they find meaningful. This year I focused on notable green chemistry advancements, which lead to the idea for the design of our new chemistry display board. And this is our green chemistry display board and our banner. So a couple years ago, we had an art student help design a heavy-duty vinyl banner that we could use at our outreach events. The banner is decorated with science illustrations, and all 12 of the principles of green chemistry are incorporated into the leaves of the tree. This has proved to be an effective way of starting a conversation about what green chemistry is and how it relates to people's lives when we do demonstrations involving one or more of the principles. We have also received permission to use a bulletin board in the lecture auditorium to make a green chemistry display that all of the students taking general chemistry courses can see. Last year, we put the 12 principles on the display, and this year we are choosing to focus on applications of green chemistry. The new display will showcase how the carbon dioxide given off from ammonia production plants are used to heat greenhouses to grow tomatoes. And so now I'm going to give it to Dr. Carroll to talk about our speakers.
So in addition to our yearly National Chemistry Week lecture for green chemistry, our chapter also hosts other speakers that focus on green chemistry. A few years ago, most notably, we hosted Dr. Irvin Levy from Gordon College as our annual Golden Eagle Seminar speaker in 2016. This is a yearly seminar that our chapter hosts, and sometimes we invite alumni, but in 2016, we were lucky enough that Dr. Levy was able to come and speak to our students and our faculty as well. He shared how Gordon College became part of the Green Chemistry Commitment, which helps provide chemists with skills that are aligned to meet the needs of the planet, and it also teaches the design and the development of efficient and environmentally sound chemical solutions for the health, safety, and effectiveness of chemical products and processes. This was incredibly useful and informative not only to our students, but also to our faculty, since Dr. Levy talked about how his college redeveloped laboratory exercises to be more green. He also did a great job of emphasizing that for a practice to be green, it must be efficient and cost effective as a previous method, and while it also produced less waste. And so if not all of these criteria are met, then the new method's not truly green. It was actually this speaker who led the charge and caused our faculty to get on board and allowed us to sign the Green Chemistry Commitment. And we were the first university in Tennessee to sign this commitment. We also try to find companies that have sustainable and green chemistry practices in place. And so a couple of years ago, we toured the facilities at Wampler Sausage Farm, which is really known for its energy efficiency. They placed an entire array of solar panels, and they had a solar farm that was helping offset some of their energy consumption. But Wampler's, most notably, is the launch site for the first commercial cellulose to hydrogen power system in the world. This process is currently in the final stages of research and development, and this technology is ultimately going to allow that farm to be net zero energy in their usage. In other words, they're actually going to generate as much energy as what they use. This cellulose to hydrogen power system is also carbon negative, which means that instead of harming the environment through carbon emissions, it actually helps to remove carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. So through this process, the only byproducts are water and biochar, and the biochar contains graphene. And so the biochar can be used as a soil additive because it has a very high surface area and allows it to store more nutrients. And so when it's added to the soil, the plants are allowed to absorb more nutrients and allows them to grow faster and larger than they would have previously. So when we were on this tour, we asked them, what are the downsides to this? And he's like, if you can find one, we would be happy to acknowledge that. But the only byproducts are water and this very desirable biochar product. And I'm going to allow Jonah to talk to you about the hazardous waste drop-off day.
All right, so our hazardous waste day, our chapter helps the Putnam County Clean Commission by volunteering at their household hazardous waste day drop-off day. So we work with the commission to help community members to safely dispose of toxic materials, including household cleaners, pesticides, herbicides, gasoline, and other similar materials. We talk with the community members about how the improper storage or disposal of hazardous waste poses a health risk to residents and their families. This allows our chapter members to share the green chemistry principles of designing safer chemicals and prevention. By dropping off these wastes with the Clean Commission, residents are able to prevent the accidental release of these substances into the environment that can cause harm to human health. We also discuss how sometimes there are safer alternatives to use these items, which can still serve the same function. And so now I'll hand it back to Dr. Carroll to talk about the community outreach.
So those were a few of the professional development ways that we incorporate green chemistry, and the Hazardous Waste Day is a service to our community, but we also do some other community service that involves green chemistry. And so one of the things that we do as part of our National Chemistry Week activities is a large community outreach event. And in this outreach event, we always have a lot of hands-on demonstrations and activities that are going to allow students to come in and learn about that year's theme. And we always make sure to incorporate definitely one activity that is going to educate students not only about the theme of the week, but also green chemistry. And so this year at our space chemistry outreach event, we used a redesigned rainbow flame test demonstration that taught people not only about emission spectra, but also using safer chemicals. So for these flame test solutions, they were made out of water and non-hazardous materials like sodium chloride and borax, instead of some of the traditional chemicals like barium chloride, which are not safe to be handled. The solutions were then sprayed into a catering ring warmer, which is a much safer flame source than a Bunsen burner. In 2017, we performed an acid rain demo that taught people about coal combustion products such as sulfur oxides and nitrogen oxide compounds, and how they combine with atmospheric moisture to produce acid rain, and how this acid rain erodes away at limestone. This allowed us to then discuss how the use of scrubbers can prevent this type of pollution, eliminating the formation of acid rain. In our 2016 outreach event, which was forensics themed, we used cocoa powder to dust for fingerprints, and then this allowed us to talk about how cocoa powder is a renewable resource, and it's also less hazardous than regular fingerprinting powder. In 2015, for part of the Chemistry Colors the World National Chemistry Week theme, we taught people about environmentally friendly fireworks that replace perchlorates with nitrogen-rich materials that are not pollutants in the same way that the perchlorates are. These nitrogen-rich formulas also require fewer metals and color-producing chemicals that can also be a source of pollution. And so the incorporation of these demos into our outreach events allows us to reach a larger number of people with these green chemistry principles, and also to be able to start at an earlier age, since this event is mainly focused towards young children. Another large outreach that we do is Fall Fun Fest, which is our largest outreach event and takes place in September of every year. At Fall Fun Fest, we conduct hands-on activities and demonstrations with community members that teach chemistry concepts. For the past few years, we've made sure to incorporate a green chemistry activity into this event. And so one year we used density difference in types of plastics to be able to sort the types of plastics, which led to a conversation about recycling and why it's important to be able to prevent pollution instead of having to deal with cleaning it up. We also have a demonstration where we show that traditional packing peanuts do not degrade and that the new starch-based packing peanuts can dissolve in water. This allows us to talk about the principle of designing chemicals and products for degradation, because we can talk about how the starch-based packing peanuts are not harmful to the environment and they're not going to persist for long periods the way that the traditional packing peanuts do. This year we used a new demonstration where we took goldenrod paper to teach about acid-base chemistry. The goldenrod paper contains turmeric, which is a natural acid-base indicator that's gold in acidic conditions and red in basic conditions. We would let people write a secret message onto the paper with candle wax, and then we would spray a baking soda solution onto the paper to reveal the message. So this allowed us to talk to community members about how it's useful and better to use less harmful chemicals and also renewable feedstocks, since the turmeric in the paper is a renewable resource. Every year, we try to make sure we plan several things for Chemists Celebrate Earth Week. And so for the Chemistry Celebrate Earth Week, we always make sure to participate in the Tennessee Tech Earth Day Festival, where we set up a table and introduce people to green chemistry practices and how they help chemists be more environmentally conscious in our methods. This does a really great job of relating sustainability to green chemistry and environmental chemistry. Every year, we also apply for funding through our Student Government Association to be able to purchase sustainable giveaway items for Chemists Celebrate Earth Week. In the past, we've received funding to purchase reusable water bottles, and we would put a list of all of the water bottle filling stations on campus, canvas grocery tote bags, and silicone straws and cleaning brushes. And so this allows us to discuss pollution issues from disposable items and how prevention is achieved by using these items. So finally, you've already heard about a few of these resources, but these are things that are very helpful to us. So our chapter utilizes both the Green Chemistry Institute and Beyond Benign for new demonstration and activity ideas. The ACS Green Chemistry Institute is an excellent source that includes educational resources and activity ideas for student chapters, as well as links to the webinar as Jennifer was talking about earlier. Beyond Benign is also a great source for webinars that teach about chemistry, much like green chemistry, much like this one. So we hope that you find the information provided to be useful in helping your chapter achieve green chemistry status and in teaching your fellow classmates and community members about the importance of green and sustainable chemistry.
All right, thank you very much, Amanda and Jonah. That was awesome. And again, also thank you to Jenny, Amy Keirstead, and Jennifer, and Jessica as well for the wonderful presentations, for giving us great ideas for bringing green chemistry into your student chapters. And so now we would like to take the time to actually answer some questions that have come in. And so, Amy, what is the first question that has come through?
Yeah, we've got a good number, so feel free to type any in if you still have them out there. How many green chemistry chapters have there been in the past, and is there a list of past award winners somewhere that I could access?
Sure. So this year we had just over 70 green chemistry student chapter awards. That's up from last year. Last couple of years we've had about 50. They are listed on the ACS student chapter website, and I can find a link, Amy, and send it to you so you could post it there so people can see them. But we do have a variety of the activities that have been performed by students listed on the ACS GCI website as well. So let me find that link for you, Amy, and you can post it out to people.
Wonderful. We also just had a shout out. Sounds like you guys have some fans there at Tennessee Tech. Thanks to the Tennessee Tech ACS students for supporting the Household Hazardous Waste event in Putnam, so the same one that you guys described. The volunteer spirit and desire to help others is appreciated by the Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation. So I just wanted to make sure you guys saw that. I think the audience saw that one, but a nice shout out. And I think there's more opportunities to collaborate here too. They need some Tennessee students that may be with an ACS student chapter. So perhaps some opportunities for ACS student chapter students to help middle and high school students to inventory chemicals or share how student chapters have already done inventories and lessons learned. So there's another opportunity there.
Awesome. We're always looking for opportunities to be able to collaborate with other groups, including, local area schools and other student chapters in our area.
Wonderful. Okay, and we have some other ones that, I think we've had a few asking for more information on the demo. So for Jonah and Amanda, any way we could get the details for your demos, such as the space flame test, if we want to put up a similar demo. We are a similar student group at UBC in Vancouver.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't include the information, our contact information. I didn't think to do that at the end of our slides. But you can, we are on Facebook. So if you search Tennessee Tech ACS, then we should come up there. And we're also on Twitter. And so if you want to reach out to us on Twitter, our Twitter is going to be, let me double check and make sure I give you the right address. It's at TN Tech ACS. And so feel free to tweet us, and we can share information with you.
Yeah, and Derek and I can make sure we get that out in the follow-up emails that go up to the attendees and the people who didn't make it today too. So, and a question for probably for Jenny: can Canadian university student groups also join as student chapters?
Yeah, so there are now international student chapters, and you can join by having an affiliate student chapter through your university. So it would have similar requirements to an ACS student chapter, where you have to have 6 ACS members as part of your group. And then you fill out the application and create your bylaws, and you can become an ACS student chapter internationally. And you are eligible for the Green Chemistry Award that way as well.
Yeah, I know we had some international folks joining from Brazil and Puerto Rico, so that does show. And I know we have some Puerto Rican universities that have won numerous Green Chemistry Chapter awards as well. So thank you for joining. A follow-up, I think, to that question is for. This might be a question for either chapter. How do you find the process of applying to be a Green Chemistry student chapter? Is it easy or cumbersome?
That's a great question. So this is Amy Keirstead. There is no process. So with the ACS Student Chapters program, you of course do an end of the year report where you submit your activities, and in the little drop-down menu, it just asks you, is it a green chemistry activity? And if it is, you say yes. And then at the end of the report, there is asked you if you want to be considered for a Green Chemistry Award, and then it asks you for a little blurb about how your chapter has been involved in green chemistry. So it's really an abridged version of the larger report that you do. So it's just part of that. There's no separate application or anything like that. Does that answer the question?
Well, I was going to say that's what makes it the best thing about being a Green Chemistry chapter is you just incorporate the events, because you're filling out the report anyways, and so all you have to do is check the box and say that this is a green chemistry activity and that you want to be considered. So it's very little additional work on top of what you are already doing to fill out a good chapter report anyways.
Yeah, I would say that the harder part is coming up with the activities and deciding whether they're, an eligible green chemistry activity or not. But that effort is made a lot easier by webinars like this, where we've had 2 chapters talk about their experiences. And of course, Jenny has run through all of the criteria and the different resources that are available through the GCI, including their own webinars. So.
Great. We have a couple of questions that are more, I think, general to green chemistry, but I think you guys would be great to field those. How are green chemistry programs transferring knowledge to teachers that are not chemists by trade? And so I guess that's a question for you guys. Have you come across those folks in your outreach?
Well, I think a lot of our activities are really kind of geared for people who don't necessarily have to have a background in chemistry. So like our National Chemistry Week lecture about green chemistry, we purposely designed that not to be very deep and in depth into, chemistry. So we have to take the time to make sure that we properly explain like what it means to, reduce derivatives and real-time pollution analysis. So I think that makes it a little bit more approachable if you kind of understand going into this that a lot of people aren't going to have that background. And so if you can just take the time to talk to people and kind of bring it to a level where they can understand and where it makes them excited to want to learn more about it, even if they don't have a background in chemistry. And so I think that there's some really approachable ways that can happen.
And one thing that we've experienced is when we run our workshops at the Maine Science Festival, a lot of the student groups that are coming in are actually from homeschooled families. So we're having a lot of parents that are coming up to us afterwards and interacting with us who don't necessarily have a strong scientific or green chemistry background, but want to be able to take some of these things that we're showing them and incorporate them more into what they're teaching their kids at home.
Awesome. That sounds wonderful. Great ideas here. And we have one last question here. I think it'll close up the hour, and then I'm going to hand it back to you, Derek. This is more about really how you measure green chemistry. So when you're modifying, and I think this might speak to any of the research, maybe some of the student research or any of the work that you've done at your own university, there. I think it's very important that when you modify a chemical process, you know, what are the metrics that you're using to show the new process is more green?
Well, I think what we try to do is just try to use less hazardous materials and also try to generate less waste. So that's one of the metrics that we're using. Is it something that we can use to teach the same concept, but there's not as many hazards involved with it? And so I think that, you know, we really try to find a demo and say, well, can we replace this chemical with this chemical, and now it's less, you know, hazardous, and now there's less waste for us to have to deal with. So it's good all around, because a lot of times these less hazardous chemicals are actually easier to acquire. And so a lot of our demos that we do in terms of these green chemistry activities are things that you can purchase at big box stores and drug stores. So we try to make it accessible that way. So it's benefiting in both ways. One, we're able to turn it into a green chemistry thing, but then two, it makes it safer for the groups that we're doing the activities with.
That's great, Amanda. And I'll add on to that from a research perspective that, you know, one of the principles or the tenets of green chemistry is that no one's going to support it if it costs more money or if we obtain an inferior product. So we want to be able to have the same outcome but use renewable resources or produce less waste or use less energy or produce less hazardous materials, etc. So you know, how can we have better living through chemistry and also do things that are better for our environment? And Amy, you asked about metrics, and one of the key metrics, of course, is E-factor, which is sort of the new and improved atom economy, which includes both, you know, starting materials and products, but incorporates everything else, like how much silica gel did you use, and how much water did you have to run through the rotovap, and all of these sorts of things. So that is a way to quantify it, and we've done that in our sophomore organic chemistry lab to really illustrate green chemistry principles and whether a revised process is indeed green.
That's wonderful. Okay, I'm going to hand it back over to Derek to wrap it up.
Okay, thanks, Amy. And again, thank you to all our presenters today for, again, just doing a wonderful job highlighting not only how to become a green chemistry chapter, but again, your guys' activity that you have successfully implemented into your communities. And just before we kind of close out today's webinar, I would just like to mention that the recording of this webinar and all the supporting documents, such as the PowerPoints that were in today's webinar. Also, with one of the questions was some of the materials, how to do some of those outreach activities, will all be uploaded onto Beyond Benign's website at the URL you see there. Also, just to stay up to date about really what's going on with the green chemistry community, we do have another webinar scheduled for December 6th at 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it's actually going to be, our main presenter is going to be Dr. John Warner, and he is going to be discussing green chemistry and inventing a circular economy through a thermodynamic lens. So we're really excited about this webinar because it's really going to give a really holistic approach in terms of how green chemistry is going to really innovate the circular economy that really is starting to gain a lot of momentum. And also, just for everyday things regarding green chemistry, you can sign up for Beyond Benign's quarterly newsletter, and again, for our webinar announcements at our homepage at www.beyondbenign.org. And with that, again, I just want to thank our presenters and thank all our attendees today. and thank you for listening.